Iowa Spirit on TV-8.
It's 12 o'clock. And now from TV-8, where news is #1, Molly Cooley, John McLaughlin, and Mary Brubaker. This is TV-8 News, live at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. President Bush told reporters today that there is less use for nuclear weapons as democracy comes to Eastern Europe and the Soviet troops return home. Mr. Bush also said it's time for the Western Alliance to set a strategy for what he calls the transformation of Europe. On the subject of U.S. hostages in Lebanon, the president says he is not against offering Iran a goodwill gesture as long as it is not seen as a negotiation with the country. He gave reporters a specific example.
One of the things that the Iranians are interested in is the fate of, I believe it was four Iranians that were taken, I think, back in '82. Now, if there's some way that we can go back and get any information that would relieve the anxieties of the loved ones of those four people, we ought to do that.
Mr. Bush did say that the best information he has is that the 4 Iranian hostages are dead. The president also defended his position of not taking action against the Soviet Union for its sanctions against Lithuania.
And Secretary of State James Baker told NATO allies today that the United States has scrapped planned development of more powerful short-range nuclear missiles for deployment in Europe. Baker also said there would be no further modernization of nuclear artillery. In addition, Baker proposed that 35 foreign ministers from the East and West meet later this summer for a NATO summit. The announcement came during a NATO meeting in Brussels.
In local news today, no charges have been filed in an overnight shooting in Des Moines. Police were called to 400 Guthrie Avenue last night. They found 28-year-old Delbert Hanner inside his residence. Hanner told police he hurt himself while cleaning his gun. But police are also looking into the possibility that the shooting may have happened during a family dispute. Hanner is in serious condition at a Des Moines hospital, and the investigation continues.
If you're one of more than 12,000 Central Iowans who failed to return the U.S. Census form, you'll soon be hearing a knock at your door. Local census takers were receiving some last-minute instruction before hitting the streets this morning. Census officials say 76% of those living in the 22-county Central Iowa area did return their census forms. And today is the first day that people will be going door to door to count the rest. Officials say answering the questions will take anywhere from 5 to 25 minutes, depending on which form is used.
We're going to be asking how many people reside in the household, how many rooms that there are in the house, things of that nature. Just some very basic demographics.
Census takers will be knocking on doors from 9 to 9 each day, and officials expect the work to be completed by the end of the month.
A new $40 million pork plant opened its doors today in Waterloo. Company Executive Vice President Gene Lehman says the state-of-the-art plant returns Waterloo to the forefront of the meat industry. About 200 production workers are on the job today. Another 300 have been undergoing training and will begin work tomorrow. IBP says the plant eventually will employ 1,200 to 1,500 people. No major meat packer has operated in Waterloo since Rath Packing was liquidated in 1985. Some employees at Maytag Corporation in Newton say they plan to wear black armbands at tomorrow's annual company celebration in Newton. The annual Blue and White Day is meant to be a festive event, but some workers say they aren't in a mood to celebrate. This comes after the company announced it will move 300 jobs out of Newton to Jackson, Tennessee.
Much attention has been given recently to the need to recycle, and schools in Marshalltown have really jumped on the recycling bandwagon in a big way. And by the way, that's where TV-8 is live on the road today with Allison Gilman. She's there to bring us details. Allison?
John, it's no coincidence that we're in Marshalltown, a fine community doing a fine recycling effort. Right now we're at Anson Middle School, where students here are taking part in a community-wide recycling effort. Behind me you see a recycling hut. Each of the schools here in town has been provided with one of these by Hy-Vee grocery stores. Students can bring any leftover materials. They bring cardboard boxes, cans from the cafeteria, papers, plastics, and all of these materials will then be taken to the community-wide recycling center. Inside the schools, we checked out the classrooms today, and each class had a box to hold recycled paper. There was one box where the white paper went, and there was another box for colored paper. One science teacher showed us how some students even made recycled paper of their own last week. Posters are all over the school as students increase their awareness of the need to conserve their natural resources. In the lunchroom, students are even putting their new knowledge to use. Students put paper in one waste container, they put their milk cartons in another. Even the milk itself that's left over is put into a bucket. It's saved for other uses. Outside of the school, officials have planted new trees all across the school grounds. Joining us now, Dr. Fred Wills. Dr. Wills is the principal at the middle school. And Dr. Wills, first question for you, what are you hoping the students gain from this recycling effort?
Well, Allison, we're interested in attitudes, and certainly it is our concern that today's students develop some very healthy attitudes about our ecology, and indeed recycling as a part of that.
How do you see them fitting into this community-wide Marshalltown recycling project?
Well, as you've indicated, the recycling project is a community effort. Our community leaders, local businesses and industries, along with our students, are working hand in hand to try and, quote, save the planet, or certainly to save our little space of it. And we are working with those leaders, and our kids are working with community leaders to do their part in this.
How have they reacted to this?
Very, very positive. I think our students have come forth with many ideas themselves of things that they can do, and they certainly see the value in this kind of a program.
Quickly, Dr. Wills, what is that leftover milk used for?
Well, to be honest with you, the leftover milk is not used, but the cartons that it comes in are recycled.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here and for letting us see what a great project you have going. John, back to you.
All right, thank you very much. And Allison, what do you have coming up a little bit later on?
Well, coming up tonight on the news at 6, we'll be out in the Marshalltown City Square. We're hoping everybody else can come out and join us down there. What we're going to be showing you is how the community-wide project works and how the middle school efforts fit in with everything else that's going on to recycle here in Marshalltown.
Very good, and we'll look for that report tonight at 6.
And still to come today at noon, this is hostage Thomas Sutherland's 5th birthday in captivity.
And we'll check in to find out how Grand Prix tickets are selling this year. Stay with us. One more flight, and former hostage Frank Reed will be back in the United States. Today he's undergoing a final debriefing, then tomorrow he'll fly back home to Massachusetts. Reed has brought word that he saw 2 British hostages just 2 days before he was released. The Archbishop of Canterbury today appealed for direct government talks to get the British hostages out. Hostage Thomas Sutherland is 59 years old today. This is his 5th birthday while in captivity. His wife, Jean Sutherland, sent birthday greetings through a Beirut newspaper. Jean Sutherland still lives on the campus of the American University in Beirut, where she teaches English. Her husband was Dean of Agriculture at the school when he was kidnapped in 1985.
Lithuania's Prime Minister will be in Washington, D.C. later today to give President Bush his version of the situation in Lithuania. It's a symbolic foot in the White House door for Lithuania, but the administration considers the visit unofficial. 38-year-old dwarf actor David Rappaport is dead today. Los Angeles police say the star died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He recently was featured in the TV show L.A. Law. Rappaport also starred in the movie Time Bandits.
Officials are investigating the second crash of an Amtrak train in a week and a half. Last night, an Amtrak train bound for Indianapolis from Chicago apparently rear-ended a freight car and derailed. Authorities will be trying to find out if the Amtrak train was accidentally switched onto the wrong track where the freight car was sitting. 6 people were hospitalized, another 20 received minor injuries. Just 10 days ago, an Amtrak train jumped the tracks in southern Iowa near Batavia.
A small turnout last night for the first public hearing of the Des Moines Charter Commission. Fewer than 25 people attended, and only 5 actually spoke out on what they would like the commission to examine regarding the future of Des Moines government. The Charter Commission is working alongside the Polk County Charter Commission, a group which is considering the consolidation of the city of Des Moines and Polk County governments. If both commissions agree on consolidation, voters would decide the matter in November. The City Charter Commission will hold a second public hearing this evening at Brody Middle School beginning at 7 o'clock.
With a little more than 2 months to go, Des Moines Grand Prix tickets are selling faster than expected. This year's new Park and View tickets are sold out and have people on the waiting list. There are 4 of the 60 hospitality suites available for $6,000 to $20,000. Grand Prix officials say they've sold about 400 general admission tickets so far, but expect that number to climb after they mail out 400,000 ticket brochures starting next week. Grand Prix officials say they expect to draw more people than last year with the help of new family attractions.
We're doing a lot of new things this year. We've incorporated a fun village this year to attract the younger kids and to give you something to do between the races, because there's a lot of downtime in which you don't have a whole lot to do out there. And we want to keep people busy all the time. We've got the expo space, we've got a high-performance car show, we've got concept cars. Some of the world's neatest cars are going to be here in Des Moines, and the Fun Village, we've got a miniature golf course that's going to be set up, games that can be used with tokens, and great things with celebrity dunk tank and all sorts of fabulous stuff that's going to keep people busy the whole time they're there this year.
And the Greater Des Moines Grand Prix runs July 13th, 14th, and the 15th.
And it was hot last year,
Very
too,
hot, probably be plenty hot again this year, I imagine.
Air conditioning outside. What about our weather for right now?
Well, the rain is slow in coming, but it's going to get here, but it's only moving 10 to 15 miles an hour, so it's taking a little while. You don't have to come all the way from Texas. We'll be back with weather after this.
For the latest official forecast, 24 hours a day, call TV-8 Weather at 262-7173.
Plenty of action in Marshalltown today. How you doing out there? These are students from Anson Middle School. It's kind of chilly to be out for recess today, but they've got their coats on, so appears they're in good shape. Here in Des Moines, we're looking at cloudy skies right now. Not too bad, 58 degrees currently, an east wind at 13 miles an hour, 42% humidity, the barometer rising now at 3020. On National Weather Service radar, we do have some rain showers finally to talk about. They should have been here last night, but of course they weren't. Finally getting into Iowa now. They've been down around the border all morning and now just starting to move up to Des Moines, north of Lamoni, around the Ottumwa area, some light rain all the way back to Council Bluffs. This whole line of precipitation now moving to the north-northeast at only around 10 to 15 miles an hour, so it's going to be a slow progression across the state today. Later on tonight, more significant rains now occurring in sections of Kansas, Nebraska, and Missouri should start moving into the area. As far as temperatures across the state, we've got some sunshine up around the northern counties. 63 now in Mason City, Fort Dodge, 62 in the Spencer area, Sioux City reporting at 64. Basically across the southern two-thirds of the state, looking at cooler conditions with clouds and 54 in Ottumwa as well as Lamoni. Council Bluffs right now checking in at 59 degrees. And the same situation overnight, but kind of reversed with some clear skies over the north, very cool temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. But in southern Iowa with the clouds acting as that old insulating blanket, 51 here in Des Moines as well as Lamoni, 52 Ottumwa, and 50 in Burlington. Here was the situation this morning at 6 o'clock. The bright white clouds on your screen reveal where all the precipitation is occurring. It is continuing to stream up from the south and very gradually moving to the north-northeast. It's kind of a situation we call overrunning, where we have a warm front here pushing up the precipitation, coming, overrunning the front, and ending up in Iowa. But as this front gradually moves into the state, our rain chances are going to increase pretty dramatically because most of the rain is behind the front in this area here called the warm sector. So we'll look for that to move in later on tonight. 62 right now in Minneapolis, looking at 50 in Kansas City, 52 in St. Louis because of the cloud cover. Things now clearing out back here behind the frontal system with cool temperatures across mountains of Colorado, 45 this hour in Denver. For Iowa today, rain developing across much of the southern half of the state. Probably won't get into northern Iowa until perhaps late this afternoon. 10 to 20 mile an hour winds out of the east and a temperature 65 in the north, around 60 in the south. Later on tonight, an 80 to 100% chance of rain across much of central and southern Iowa. 40 to 50% chance of rain up here in northwest Iowa, probably after midnight. And then for tomorrow, rain should be ending during the morning hours, moving off to the east, partly sunny skies developing across northwest and west central Iowa with temperatures between 60 and 65. Now we'll look at the forecast for Des Moines and central Iowa today. Rain developing by mid-afternoon. High temperature around 60 degrees with an east wind at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Later on tonight, rain likely, about a 90% chance, 45 to 50 for the low. And tomorrow, we're going to look for mostly cloudy skies, a 40% chance of some morning showers, high around 60. Extended forecast looking real nice for the weekend. Partly sunny skies, temperatures in the 60s all the way through Monday. So a good chance to get out and go to the circus or whatever you want to do, which you did last night.
That's when the rain will come, will be this weekend. No, the circus, that was fun. Taking a look at Wall Street right now, the market is higher in moderate trading. Volume the first 3 hours, 84 million shares. The Dow is up 20 points today at 2710. Average share of common stock up 18 cents. Midwest cattle prices this noon untested. On the interior Iowa hog market, butchers mostly 50 higher, sows steady to 50 higher. And May corn is lower at 285 today. May beans lower at 632. May wheat higher at 375.
Hey, and time again to check in with Mary to find out what she has on tap for today.
We're out and about again, John. You know, in the spring, the Drake Neighborhood Association is very, very busy. They have daffodil days in Whitmer Park where people can come and see all the daffodils that have been planted there in the Gladys Burkhead Gardens. Thousands and thousands of daffodil bulbs have been put into Whitmer Park, and it's always one of the great festivities for the spring. They have their madrigal singers. They plant flowers and trees all over the Drake neighborhood, especially along Kingman Boulevard, where I am today, and they plan their house tour, and it's that we'll be talking about in a preview right after this. Some of the folks who have helped make the Drake Neighborhood House Tour a success this year are with me here at the Petersma home at 4010 Kingman. In fact, Kingman is the focal point for the house tour this year. Scott Parks is with us, and Helen Goodner, and Helen is all dressed up and ready to go. She's feeling very historic today. Helen, how long have you lived in the Drake neighborhood?
32 years.
That dress is older than that.
It's 106 years old. It's part of my grandmother's trousseau.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And you'll be on duty somewhere.
I'll be a ticket marker in one of the homes Sunday.
Scott, I think it's interesting that you and your wife were on the tour last year and it happened.
Well, last year we went on the tour, and I wanted to have her take a look at these houses, and right after the tour we went and walked into the house that we ended up buying on Rutland Avenue, and we love it. It's been restored, and we're going to do some more work on it in the future.
And you've been working on the tour this year. That's a way to go, Scott.
Yeah, I figured it's time for payback. We got our house, so it's time to help other people know about it too.
Why do you care about the Drake neighborhood?
The Drake neighborhood has been one of my favorite neighborhoods in Des Moines for almost all my adult life, and I wanted to come into the area and start a family, and hopefully we'll see that happen in the future with these sort of tours.
Drake has a lot of variety in terms of the architecture, the streets, the neighborhoods. It's got Drake University, of course, as the focal point. It's got Drake Park. It's got churches. It's got schools. It's got a little bit of everything. And as I said, we're in front of this Tudor house at 4010 Kingman, and it is owned by Janet and Jay Petersman. We'll be talking with them in a minute. But while we look at some scenes from past news stories about the Drake area and some of the restoration that goes on, Scott, let me ask you to just kind of fill us in on the logistics for this coming Sunday.
Okay, this Sunday the tour is from 12 noon to 5 p.m. and we'll be having 12 properties on the tour. We'll have 9 residences and 3 buildings, and we'll also be having horse and buggy rides, and we're also dedicating the playground equipment for Drake Park in the middle of the afternoon. So we invite you all to come on out and enjoy it.
If we don't have a good forecast for Sunday, boy, somebody's going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, somebody will. I wanted to also add that we're also going to, the tickets day of tour are going to be $6. If you want to buy them in advance, they're $5.
Every house on the tour, of course, is historic. We're looking at some of the Drake development, business development, too, as we go, because that's part of the story of Drake neighborhood, the diner, the law center, and all the new apartments around Drake.
There's been a lot of new investment in the Drake area, and we're very excited about that because it's giving us a facelift and also showcasing what we've had in the past, 100 years of suburban living.
And speaking of investments, that's what the Petersma did when they bought this house. And why did you like this house, Janet?
Well, I've always been attracted to older homes. I really enjoy the character and the charm of the homes in this neighborhood.
And how about you? In fact, it went on the market and you bought it.
We bought it just a few hours after it went on the market, and I started out as a person wanting a brand new home, and I just got in here and I saw the sturdiness and how well they were built, and I said, this is for us.
We had a hard time deciding whether to be inside or outside today, because inside is wonderful, all the woodwork and all the decor, and we kind of want to tease you and not let you inside because that's what you've got to pay to see on Sunday. But you're happy to be in the Drake neighborhood.
We certainly are. We're really pleased to be here. It's a very pleasant place to live.
And you don't mind people trooping through your house on Sunday?
Not at all. If it'll let other people be more aware of the neighborhood, so much the better.
I think it's interesting that the E.T. Meredith family owned the home next door to you here, which is also on the tour, and then they owned a lot of this property. There's a lot of history in this area.
It seems like there is. When you go back and read through the abstract, you can really pick up some of the flavor for what's happened over the years, and it's really been a versatile neighborhood that's done a lot of different things.
Thank you. We've got some good spokespeople here for the Drake Neighborhood House Tour. Scott, I'm sure we forgot something. I know it's $6. It's Sunday from noon to 5. Anything else you want to say? Just please come.
Just please come. I can't think of anything else. I can't tell the houses on the tour, but come and find out. We'll have a good time.
It's a secret. 3 of them are within sight right here, and they're interesting, believe me. We'll be back with more on the TV-8 News live at noon right after this.
Having a 500-pound gorilla as a pet is a bit unusual, and putting that gorilla to work as a finger paint artist, well, Mary Farrell has more from Tacoma, Washington.
Because of their size,
Ivan is in the prime of life, but he lives in a Tacoma hardware store, and there's little for a gorilla to do. Bob Doherty is changing that.
The idea of the art was simply to give him something to do, something in addition to tug of war and roughhouse and things that I do through the bars with him. And it started as just an idea that perhaps Ivan would like to smear some paint around.
And most of the time, Ivan does like it. Right now, he's a little nervous.
You want more yellow? Can I have the painting? Don't who dye it. It's okay. Ivan, can I have the color? Can I have the painting?
But once Ivan starts painting, he paints, not just with his fingers, but with his lips. And the trick is getting the gorilla to give it up for framing.
Come on, Ivan. Oh, Ivan, give me the painting. Give me that painting, please. Come on. Oh, good boy. Ooh, pretty picture.
Ivan's work, framed and signed, sells for $40 a painting. He's completed 137 in the last year and a half. A lot of people stop by here and look through the window at Ivan, and some of them would say that the gorilla is being exploited here. But Bob Doherty says the proceeds and the attention from Ivan art can actually help improve conditions for the animal. Ivan was captured as an infant, and he's been held here in isolation for the last 21 years.
Well, the fact that he's not in the wild, being the cock of the walk and engaging in the guerrilla activities, natural activities, is tragic. And until they invent a time machine that we can use to correct mistakes of people in the past, there's absolutely nothing we can do about it.
Ivan couldn't get along in a zoo. He couldn't survive back in the wild. But he could live another 20 to 30 years here. Years that would be pretty empty, except for Bob Doherty.
There are very few things that you can do that are good, that are clearly, absolutely good. And I think this is something good. It's my cause, it's my banner, and I enjoy it very much.
Mary Farrell for CBS News.
A hardware store.
That's what I don't understand.
Suppose they come see the gorilla and go home with a power saw or something?
I don't know. I lost that part. But anyway, interesting. What about Helping Hand?
Okay, it is time now for another TV-8 salute to a community-wide Helping Hand volunteer.
HUGHES volunteers his time at Career Beginnings, helping young people find opportunities in the workplace. Sly says he did not have a mentor when he was growing up, so now he likes being a friend and advisor to others. His hobbies include bike riding, chess, and collecting music. Sly is working hard to make his community a better place to live, and TV-8 salutes this Helping Hand volunteer.
Let's now go back out to Mary. Mary, I've seen that house before, and I've always loved it. So
it's a beauty, isn't it?
It does look neat.
Well, you'll be able to see it Sunday. From the fashions of 1884 to the fashions of 1990. Tomorrow, we're going to have a preview of the Ebony Fashion Fair.
Okay, thanks, Mary John.
Nice boots, eh? Anyway, weather-wise today, chance of rain moving in, high temperature around 60 degrees.
That'll do it for noon. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.